Last week, you wrote an essay about whether schools should start later or not, and you based your essay off of an article that I had you read. And I saw some of you also looking up other articles for more facts and information to support your ideas, and that's awesome. But you definitely want to use the information from that article as your basis. But today, I want you to take a look at your introduction, and this video is going to serve as a little tutorial for you to think about how to set up your introduction. So you'll listen to this video, I'll have you stop and go back to your essay and work on some different parts. So there's this idea that a traditional model of an introduction starts with a general topic statement, and then you provide some background information in your introduction paragraph. And then finally, you conclude your introductory paragraph with a thesis statement. Your thesis statement tells your reader exactly what to expect in the essay. It's usually a statement that can be supported with facts. It's not a fact itself. And it just introduces the big ideas that you're going to be talking about later in your essay. So today I'm going to take you through these 3 pieces of an introduction and let you go back to your own essay and work on your introduction as well to make sure you're doing these things. Alright, so let's get started. So first you want to have a general topic sentence, and you'll see here that I have brainstormed 3 different ideas here, 1, 2, and 3. The first one here, many people have a hard time waking up early in the morning. Mornings can be difficult for many people. When the alarm clock rings, many people hit the snooze button 2 or 3 times before dragging themselves out of bed. So what these do, they introduce the topic. So our topic is mornings and waking up in the morning. It makes a general statement about your topic, so waking up in the morning and how it can be hard for some people. And it begins to frame the argument that I'm going to make. So it sets the reader up for considering my points. So I'm setting the reader up to start thinking in the direction that waking up in the morning can be difficult to do. So I brainstormed some ideas. So now I need to decide which one is going to be the best for me and for what I'm, trying to say. And I think I like this one, number 3. When the alarm clock rings, many people hit the snooze button 2 or 3 times before dragging themselves out of bed. So I want you to pause the video right now, and I want you to brainstorm some general topic sentence ideas, whether that's in your writing journal or on a piece of paper. Brainstorm some ideas. Alright, so now that you have brainstormed some ideas and you've hopefully decided on your general topic sentence, which I've got mine pictured right here, now it's time to brainstorm some ideas for background information. Now, background information, if you noticed on the first page, the 3 different parts of an introduction were in what looks like a funnel or an upside down triangle. And it's the idea that you go from being broad at the beginning to being more specific at the end. Specific, if I could spell, that'd be helpful. So first, I just made the statement that sometimes getting up in the morning can be hard to do. Now I'm going to funnel it down and get a little bit more specific about who it's hard to wake up. Who is it hard for to wake up in the morning that I'm going to talk about and write about? And for me, I'm going to be writing about middle and high school students and how it's hard for them to wake up. So I'm going to introduce now that idea. So I'm funneling down to get a little bit more specific. I've brainstormed 3 different options here for us to choose from. Okay, studies show that many middle and high school students need to wake up early because of their different sleep patterns. Sorry, I had a little typo here. Need. Because of the way middle and high school students' bodies are changing and growing, many students have difficulty waking up for school in the morning. And my third idea, because of the way middle and high school students' bodies are changing, growing and changing, being alert and awake for their early morning classes can be a difficult task. So now I have to decide which one is best going to fit my introduction and the tone of my essay and what I want it to sound like. So I have to decide which one I'm going to go with. And I think I'm going to go with number 3 again. That's my favorite. They get better and better as I brainstorm them. So, like, I really did. I brainstormed all 3 of these. I started with the first one, then I came up with the second one, and then finally I landed the third one, and that's the one I liked the best. So I'm going to go with that. So really, truly brainstorm ideas. It takes a little bit longer, but it really does work. So I want you to pause right now. So remember, now you're going from being very general about, waking up early to now introducing, who you're talking about in your essay to get a little bit more specific. Pause the movie and take a few minutes to brainstorm some possible ideas. Do it. Don't just pretend that you're doing it. Do it. So if you put the two together here, my general topic sentence and then my background information, this is what it looks like. So now we need the thesis statement. Dun, 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 dun. So when writing a thesis statement, here are a few things to keep in mind. And, it can be a difficult task, but let's remember these items. So we want to be specific. Your statement needs to be able to be supported by facts. It needs to provide the main idea of the essay. Now, if you remember, on Friday we watched the Brain Pop video about the 5-paragraph essay, and it talked about the introduction and needing a thesis statement, and then most of the classes we did the little fun quiz at the end, and it had you look at a couple different choices and which one would be the best thesis statement. And we talked about how one of the statements wouldn't be good because it's a fact. It's a statement. And it can't be elaborated upon. So you want to keep that in your mind as you create a thesis statement. It needs to be something that can be elaborated on. So here I've brainstormed a few different ideas for a thesis statement. I have one here: because teenagers need more sleep, schools should be... 2, although starting school later would require many changes, a later start time should be adopted by schools. And then 3, starting school later will help students concentrate more and do better academically. So I've done a couple different things in these 3 thesis statements. Now 1, I would say, because teenagers need more sleep, schools should begin school at a later time. I've used school twice in this sentence, and it sounds very repetitious and not in a good way, so I would definitely want to word that a little bit better, a little more to change what I have, so it's not so repetitive. But this is one way that you can set up your ideas. It doesn't go into specifics about what you'll find in your body paragraphs, like number 3 does, but it does tell your audience what to expect, that you're going to argue for the reasons why schools should have a later start time. So maybe that's how I would even change that. Because teenagers need more sleep, schools should have a later start time. Then I wouldn't be repeating school twice. But that's one way that you can do it. You can have an AWUBIS sentence: because, and then your idea, and then school should, and then your position that you're taking on this topic. So that's one format that you could follow for your essay. Another format would be acknowledging the other side. So the word although indicates that you're acknowledging something that you're not necessarily agreeing with, or like there's another side to an issue. So although starting school later would require many changes, which can be an argument that that it would require sports and activities to run later, and it would require families to adjust their evening schedules, and it would interfere. That's an argument for not changing the start time for schools. So I'm acknowledging that yes, there is another side to this, but then I'm asserting my position. A later start time should be adopted by schools. So I'm very clear about my position. You want to be careful. You don't want to, when you're writing something that's argumentative in nature, your thesis wants to take one side. Okay, keep that in mind. I didn't include that. It needs to take one side. very important. So I'm acknowledging the other side here, but I'm not taking the other side. And then finally, the third option that I came up with, starting school later will help students concentrate more and do better academically. So I've listed two main ideas, or two ideas here. One paragraph might go into concentration and how starting later will, like, the brain is more awake and more alert and better, like, ready to focus and do what it needs to do. And then I might have a paragraph that talks about how academics are, students do better academically, in their classes when they start later, which is probably as a result of being able to concentrate better. So they're all linked together, but these are two separate ideas. So what you can do is set your thesis statement up in a way that that allows you to outline the two main ideas of your body paragraphs, or three main ideas of your body paragraphs, and list them in your thesis statement. Now, something to consider, though, when you organize your paragraphs, however you list them in your thesis statement, you would want to then order them in your body paragraphs. So that's just a nuance, something that we can talk about more later. But if you're going to try using a style of number 3 where you list or you include your main ideas of your body paragraphs, just keep that in mind. And if you have questions about it, you can always ask me. So stop for a moment. Stop. Pause. Brainstorm some possible thesis statements. If you're having a hard time coming up with possible thesis statements, maybe ask someone there at your table. See what they've brainstormed. Maybe you can brainstorm together and share your ideas. All right? Now, remember, going back to what we started with in the beginning, your essay, your introduction for your essay should start with a general topic statement. You should include some background information, and then finally, most specific is your thesis statement, which outlines the ideas for your essay. So, I know it's not the same as having me there with you, okay, but I wanted to give you an idea, a little tutorial of what your introduction should look like, and now you have time to work on the introduction of your essay to make it better. See, this is why I wanted you to have your essay done by today, so that you could workshop and then now focus in on just that introductory paragraph and make that better. We'll take a look at your introductions tomorrow. Don't forget to follow the rest of the directions on the agenda that tell you what to do with your introductions.